Welcome. This is the bird's eye view. I am War Duck, and this is the lovely Mr. Krow. God dang it. So we recorded a video about Helldivers, and then they everything changed overnight. So watch to the
Literally
end of the
overnight.
video. Yeah, literally overnight. Watch to the end of the video, and everything will be updated there. So don't forget to watch all the way. All right.
You guys there?
Now here's
Thanks, everyone.
the video we recorded yesterday. Welcome back to the bird's eye view. I know it's been a couple weeks or so, but we are back, and now we get to talk about what's going on with Helldivers 2. Because it wasn't
What a good game though when it came out.
Well,
Good
it's
game.
the problem is it's actually it's a better game now than it was when it came out. That's part of the
I
problem.
haven't played it for a couple weeks though.
So it wasn't but 2 weeks ago that Helldivers 2 was one of the biggest successes in 2024, and it came out of nowhere and blah 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 blah, and then all that came crashing down recently. But let's start with the good first. So so let's see. So the wild success of Helldivers 2 and Baldur's Gate 3 sends a clear message: let devs cook. All right, and so basically what they're saying in this article from April is that the success of Helldivers 2 and Baldur's Gate 3 isn't a surprise. They've been working on it, or working on their games and their crafting for a long time.
Very long time.
And like Larian had, the Divinity series, which was awesome. And they took a lot of what they learned in that, and they applied it to what they were doing in Baldur's Gate 3. And the same.
Now I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3. Heard it's a great stuff though.
So I'm in the middle of, well, I should say I'm more in the beginning of it. I have a whole bunch of hours in it, but
it's a big game. Especially if you go off.
I've started over lots of times, and that's mostly why I'm not as far as I should be. See, I have 168 hours in it, and I'm still in Act 1.
Oh wow. Wow.
But I have to say that I have started over a few times because I was playing a solo one, and then I started playing a group play, and then we had to take a super long break. So when we got that group back together, we started over again. So yeah, but part of that is there's just so much, and we try to like cover every inch of the whole thing that we can. So it's good. It is really good. But we played Divinity 2, and it was really good also. So it's not a big surprise.
Okay.
Now, I haven't played any other Arrowhead games, but apparently it was a big deal called Magica, or House of Magica, or the house that Magica built. Anyway.
Yeah, I've never even heard that game. Don't know it.
Yeah. But even though, and that came out in 2011. But I guess what this guy's saying is they took a lot of what they were doing in that game and applied it to Helldivers 2.
Okay. Well, things that they thought of, what is that, 13 years, or things that they built 13 years ago, 2011, they've learned.
Yeah.
They're learning from it.
And so basically what they're saying is that these two games it's not a surprise for these two games. They didn't really come out of nowhere. I mean, they spent, like I said, a lot of times you look at these developers and you look at the past games and you're like, oh, okay. And oftentimes, if the first game was pretty good, the second game is going to be pretty good. It's very, very rare, unless you're Bethesda, that you totally just screw everything up, and and you know, you just screw everything up, and you go a little too woke, and it breaks your game, and all that.
Yeah.
So so Helldivers 2 was doing great, and then all of a sudden this hit
Us. Yeah, this one hasn't affected me, but I've heard a
so
lot of
so
repercussions
you
of
are a
this.
PlayStation player.
I am a PlayStation PSN for short, just in case we use the acronym PSN. Yes, player for sure.
And I am a PC player, and
Team.
yeah, on Steam. And but the other thing about this too is I don't super remember this or having to do this, but I think in the very beginning, I couldn't play with you, or we were having trouble connecting. And
Had lots of troubles
I may
connecting.
have done that inadvertently or thought it would help, or I don't know, but I don't remember doing it, and I'm not getting the message to do it, so I'm going to assume that I must have done it already. So it doesn't affect me, and right now it's getting review bombed on Steam, and I don't know, because it doesn't change the game. And all these people that have 100 hours in the game asking for refunds and stuff, okay, maybe you lost interest in the game. But all this does really is hurt Arrowhead. It doesn't hurt Sony or PlayStation.
Yeah, it's not hurting Sony. It's not hurting Steam.
Yeah, it's really only hurting Arrowhead. And this is the other thing that I kind of have to wonder, though, is why did they partner with PlayStation on this in such a specific manner?
I don't know. I don't know the things behind it.
Because apparently PlayStation right now, or PSN, has a lot of control over this game that I wouldn't have thought that they would have had.
Mm-hmm.
But it says earlier this week, publisher Sony announced that all Helldivers 2 PC players would soon need to link to an active PlayStation Network account or lose access to the game. A mandate that was once a simple option at launch has now since led to thousands of negative user reviews. It should make that hundreds of thousands, hitting the once wildly popular shooter. Says Helldivers 2 community manager just yesterday assured that people in countries without PSN coverage, because there's like 170 of them or something, could continue to play the game and wouldn't be blocked. But now Helldivers 2 has been pulled from more than 170 territories lacking PSN coverage on Steam.
That is a lot.
While some global players won't be able to join the fight and buy the game, it's unclear if existing Helldivers 2 owners will be able to continue playing if they live in unsupported regions. So what a disaster. Like, and it looks super bad from Sony. Like, in my opinion, if you don't fix this now and let it be what it was, any game that you ever do from here on out, PC players will steer far, far away from.
You lose, and this is just me thinking, I'm not positive. It's been a long time since the war of console and PC, but the PC players, I think myself, I still think that there's more PC players than there are console players. And this affects it, like you're saying, Duck. I think this would affect your revenue, your growth, and the future of your company, Arrowhead being in this case.
Well, and that's
future development.
And that's the bad part is it says the Helldiver 2 developer recently reiterated that the PSN change came from Sony, not the talented team at Arrowhead Studios. So issuing refunds is probably the most effective route to getting the message across, as opposed to shouting at toxicity at devs. Sony announced the mandate on Friday and thus has yet to officially respond to the backlash that has escalated pretty wildly in just a few days. So, like,
even if it does come from Sony, it's the developer, like they've embraced it somewhat, right? Arrowhead has embraced this.
No.
How did this affect PC players then?
Well, because Sony's requiring this connection to play the game on the servers. See, this is where I wish I knew a little bit more about the relationship between Arrowhead and Sony in this game, because this game is published by Sony, even though it was developed by Arrowhead.
Yeah.
So Sony has
some kind of rights that we don't understand.
Right, they're running the servers and stuff.
Yeah.
Not Arrowhead. So if Sony makes a change on the servers, Arrowhead can't do anything about it. Like, it's like this, and this is the problem this is the problem that Warhammer is coming up against right now. Is for a different reason though. Is the Warhammer developers gave up their IP rights to make a movie with Henry Cavill. Okay. But they are trying to change the lore and go woke, and the IP owners, I forgot who owns Warhammer, but they are kind of can't do anything about it. Enough to where they're adding, because they want to add in women space marines, which doesn't exist in the Warhammer realm. And so the Warhammer owners, the IP owners, have said, well, we're not making any little figures, women figures. We're not doing any of that. But they don't have control over, like, the TV show part of it. They've given up some of that right. And then, of course, Amazon, I think it's Amazon wants to wokeize it, and like they did with Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, and mess it all up. So this is kind of the problem with Arrowhead, is that I don't know how this came about. I don't know if Sony said, hey, Arrowhead, we're going to give you X amount of dollars. We need you to make this game based off Helldivers 1. And Arrowhead said, oh, God, that's a lot of money. Okay, let's do that. But we're the developers, and you're going to publish it and do everything else? And Sony says, yep, that's the way it is. So Arrowhead says, okay. Yeah. Or does Arrowhead say, hey, we're running out of money. We really want to make this game. Hey, Sony, would you be able to publish this for us? Like, I really wish I understood how that came about, to see where Arrowhead made their mistake and gave up the power of their game, their development.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it feels like here, is Arrowhead is basically, hey, sorry, we don't have control of it. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah, and they haven't announced anything. I'm kind of looking around a little bit too, and they haven't announced anything yet. But
there's been some chatter on the Discord, though.
Yeah.
I'm wondering
if also, the thing that we as consumers fail to think about too is it costs money to run those servers. It's a huge game.
A lot of money.
So there's probably multiple servers, but there's bandwidth coming in and out that needs to be accounted for. That costs money. And I'm wondering if, Arrowhead was kind of also with Sony saying, hey, we'll publish this. We'll also maintain the servers for you. I don't know. It's just, it's a bummer. It's what you explained too, of knowing that Sony is managing those servers. I opened it up quite a bit. Like, I thought it was maybe a code change or something where Arrowhead just kind of went in there and said, okay, this is our agreement with Sony. We're going to do this.
And see,
but it's not.
Worse is apparently in the FAQs, it said it was kind of optional. And then when this all happened, Sony went in and changed the FAQs to say it was mandatory.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, so they're trying to cover themselves, but I think
Yep.
already they've probably opened themselves up to a huge lawsuit. Um,
Man.
but I don't know. Like, it's just so bad because, like I said, it is a really good game, and it's really sad that that it's kind of come to this.
Yeah.
I thought I saw where.
It's a fun game. It's a blast. It's not always the same, and even if it does become somewhat rep I can't even say the word now,
Repetitious.
repetitious. Um, you can go and change and go fight the other, like instead of the bots, instead of the beetles or whatever.
The bug, the
They
Terminids. You
determines,
got the
yeah,
Terminids and the automatons, which I just call
automatons. And
um
the automatons, man, they're tough. You have to do a
yeah.
different strategy against them, and then the level, like it's a fun game. And you don't have to sit there and wait forever to get into a battle. It's it is. It's a fun game. It really is. Uh, I hope they can figure this out. That's what needs. I hope we can figure
And
out how to unify this. I mean,
amazingly that Steam is refunding people even after the 2 hours, like up to 100 hour. Like so far,
oh really?
people that have 100 hours are getting refunds.
Ah, see, that's sad because that takes away from Arrowhead.
Yeah.
I wonder if I wonder if there's something Arrowhead could do. Be like, hey, this like our lawyers need to get into this. Like, go review our contract, go see what's in there. But if they're starting to get refunds, that takes away from Arrowhead.
Yeah, and
Arrowhead needs to
see,
step in there and be
and
like,
that's the thing
Sony,
is for me is I've
messed
already
us.
done it. It doesn't affect me. Yeah, I understand. Some people, like I understand if you don't have a PSN account. I get it if you don't have one, except for if you play any Bethesda game or any of these other ones that you have to sign up for their own launcher, or you play on
Oh
Epic,
yeah.
then now you don't really have a leg to stand on. And then the other thing that I've seen in the Discord for Helldivers 2 is people complaining about, oh, well, I don't want to have to make a PSN account because, Sony's been hacked and lost all their information, and then your public information's out there. And I said, yeah, but you're on Discord that just got in trouble because people were selling all their stuff. Like, or, you're on any of these other possible things where breaches have happened. Like,
I'm sorry, but
breaches are
your
breaches or
information,
whatever.
yeah, your information is most likely
Yeah.
out there. Your bank has
So,
been hacked. Your
but
Adobe was hacked a long time ago, but yeah,
I
they're
mean,
online.
I can't fault them though
No,
because I am very much the
the leg to
same
stand
way
on.
on a lot of things. If I didn't have a PSN account, I probably I don't know. I don't know what I would do, but it would definitely be a debate with myself if I would try to get a refund or just go ahead and make one. But I've had a PlayStation for so long now, it's not a big deal to me there. But I am the same way
See,
because I don't shop at Lowe's and I don't shop at Home Depot because they no longer give me a veterans discount because I
mm,
won't register on their website to provide my personal information about my veteran status. And I was like, why do you need my veterans? I
why do you
have a
need that?
veterans card. You can't
Yeah,
accept my
exactly. I was gonna
veterans
say.
card, right? So I very much am still one of those people that will do the same type of thing. Um, but at the same time, it's like, is it worth it to me? See, for me, I'll just go to Ace, which is actually closer for me. So it's
Yeah,
okay for me to not go to Lowe's or Home Depot. I could care less. But if it was the only hardware store available,
yeah,
well,
that's something different.
that's something different. Like Helldivers 2 is a game I enjoy playing. I have 200 plus hours into the game. Like I don't know that it would be that big a deal for me. it's not like you have to spend money to register a PSN account. If you had to pay money, of course that makes it worse.
Yeah.
But since it's
That's the other
free,
thing everybody wants, like you're probably old enough, and maybe some of our, well, I'm pretty sure most of our audience is old enough too to remember when they started getting the values, like register your account if you're over this, like we'll give you special coupons or whatever, and it really hit big. Everything we do online, everybody wants your information, and that information that they want are one of two things: they want your email or they want your phone number so that they can try to advertise to you.
and so
And
if you're one of those people that says, "Oh, the PSN might lose my information," then well, cancel your Netflix, get rid of your cell phone because that's tracking you more than anything in the world that you have anyway, and then get rid of Amazon Prime and
Amazon's
horrible.
Google's horrible.
And get rid of your TV. So, but if you have any of those things, then your leg to stand on about, they might lose my stuff or whatever is kind of.
We've talked about this in the past too. Get rid of your Ring account.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And if you have internet, you may want to reevaluate who you're going through for your internet, because Xfinity definitely sells your info.
Yeah. And like I said, I just feel bad for Arrowhead Games because they've made a great game that's super fun to play, and this seems like it's not their fault from what information is available. It seems like it's not their fault, and they're the ones that are going to get punished for it.
Sony's kicking them hard. That's going to suck. Yeah.
So hopefully,
that's sad.
Hopefully, Arrowhead's contract was, hey, make this X amount, or you're going to make this X amount if you make this game, and then we'll give you some royalties on top. So hopefully they're fine, but I don't know. I just feel bad for them either way because it kind of gives them a black mark on their name, and I just don't feel like it was their fault.
Yeah.
Okay, now that you're caught up with what we discussed yesterday, now what happened overnight is basically Sony backed down.
Sony backed it down. Yeah, they negotiated, I guess.
Yeah, it says Sony backs down to the demand that Helldivers 2 players log into the PSN account. That's the newest update because of all the other stuff that was happening, including over 200,000 negative reviews on Steam. It says, now after 3 days of pure shitstorm, Sony has blinked. In a tweet, the publisher says, we've heard your feedback on Helldivers 2 account linking update. May 6th update, which would have required Steam and PlayStation Network account linking for new players and for current players beginning May 30th, will not move forward.
Yeah. It's nice to hear that our voice was heard, though.
Right. And then Sony continued, we're still learning what's best for PC players, and your feedback has been invaluable. Thanks again for your continued support of Helldivers 2, and we will keep you updated on future plans. That's the line that has me a little worried.
Future plans?
I think eventually they'll do it anyway, but when the sales of Helldiver declines and the player base declines as an older game, that's when I think they'll probably do it again. Just my thought.
I don't know. I could see it coming back. I think what I wonder is, are they going to try to make it come back in another game in the future?
Yeah, or
maybe not Helldivers 2, but
if you want this update, you got to link your PSN account if you want this latest war bond or something. You don't have to, but if you want this latest war bond, then you have to.
Yeah.
You never know.
I can see, yeah.
But I thought Helldivers CEO, I really like the way he's handled this. He has a really, really good sense of humor about this. And it says, as Helldivers 2 Steam reviews began to recover, Arrowhead CEO shares an accidental cape design based upon overwhelming negative ratings. And of course, the community wants added to the game. And Where's the picture of it? All right. So this is the picture, and what this is the depiction of is the blue background with the negative. That's the comments from Steam or the reviews.
Wow.
So it says, created by a community member, the cape design is based upon the 3 red lines in Helldivers 2 recent review graph, which isolated from the rest of the graph against the steamish bluish black background. Looks just the kind of cape typically worn by Helldiver 2 fascist cannon fodder. So, sharing the cape, and he says, pretty cool. Like, you have to admit that's a pretty good take from him when all this is going on about his game.
Yeah.
So
I did see like one of his tweets too, where he mentioned that he wasn't sure, like he didn't know that this is what it would become and blah, blah, blah. And someone pointed the finger and said, how are you trying to say that you're not to blame when you had this decision made years and didn't even say anything to us? And he's like, oh, I'm not trying to push the blame. I'm just as much to blame on not understanding fully what this all meant. I like his attitude. He was willing to accept. He's accepting, he's listening, he's adapting, and he's learning. And I think that's cool.
Yeah, and especially because I think a lot of that was like we talked about before. I think a lot of that was kind of taken out of his hands.
Yeah.
I
think a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was mostly Sony, because otherwise I think he would have just stopped it right at the punch as soon as it started. But they had to, get Sony involved, and luckily for now, Sony has come around and heard the PC players, response to this, and I think a lot of it is the fact that Steam pulled it from 170 countries.
Yeah.
And I think that was maybe the bigger thing than everybody on Discord or everybody complaining about it. I don't think Sony cared as much about that as they did the breadth of the sales and the breadth of the departure and the impact. I think that's what the real response was from Sony. But
it was interesting because, like, I even when I was speaking to my younger son about this, Minnie was saying, like, I don't understand why it's a big deal. Remember, he's young too,
and he's a PlayStation player.
And he is a PlayStation player. Yeah. He's like, I don't know why it's such a big deal. I play Sea of Thieves, and I had to sign into all of my Microsoft stuff. And he's like, it's just the same thing. I don't know why they're making such a big deal out of this. And so that I'm giving you a different perspective from someone else who's growing up in it, really, right? He's like, oh, I had to create a Microsoft account and do all that stuff for Sea of Thieves so that I could play it there.
Yeah, but also Steam people are a bit of a different breed. And
he plays he does. He plays Sea of Thieves off of Steam.
Right. But if you grew up on Steam, you don't have a PlayStation, a lot of those people still won't do anything on Epic. Like me, I will never give Epic a dime until they stop doing these games that are only on their site. In fact, I don't even buy the games that do that. That if they're a developer and you only release it on Epic, I will never buy your game. Even if it comes to Steam, I still won't buy it. Now, if Epic wants to give it to me for free, I'll play it. But I won't buy it. I'm not giving you any money until you stop doing these exclusives.
That's why you're so good at Fortnite. I'm just kidding.
I have only played one time when Twisted made me play. After we played PUBG forever, and then both of us were like, I can't deal with this building part, and it was just enough. So yeah, I don't. Yeah. So anyway, let's get off that. But anyway, so the Helldivers community won. They got what they wanted, and I think Arrowhead learned a valuable lesson about your IP like we talked about with Warhammer and stuff. I think they learned a valuable lesson about if you want something to be yours and you want control of it, then you better keep control of it. Yeah. And yeah, so hopefully Helldivers recovers. Hopefully if you reviewed them on Steam and change it to negative, now you got to go back and change it to positive, because there's no reason for you to leave a negative review on that game. It's still a good game. In fact, I have now owned every Warbond piece that I can get, and now I'm stacking my medals, so when they release the new one on the 9th, I can just buy everything all at once.
Nice. Nice.
So go do your daily, get your medals, and change your review to positive on Steam. That's the update. Thanks for joining us. Much love,
everyone. Appreciate it.